Universal design for learning and assistive technology. How do they work together? Let's take a look at them in practice. Part of my high school curriculum requires the study of a work of drama, including Shakespeare. It does not matter the level of the students in the class where they're reading or writing, they are all required to complete this unit. So how do I make this material accessible to students when independently it is out of their reach? Namely, I use two forms of assistive technology for my students, one being the Chromebook, or I allow them to use their own personal phones or tablets if they feel more comfortable with these platforms. These platforms allow my students access to the material we are covering in class. For example, my students who are in my resource class who have very limited access to written language, they are able to sign to communicate, but when asking them to write in English, there's a struggle. These students have access to something called Flipgrid. It is an app that we have installed on their Chromebooks, and they are able to read and discuss together in class. For example, we just finished discussing Act 2, Scene 2 from Romeo and Juliet. They were asked to answer these questions which we discussed in class on Flipgrid. And here's an example of my students. He was more comfortable answering these questions at home, so he used his own personal device at home. I have blurred out his face because he's under 18. But he answered these questions quite succinctly in his own native language. Had he been asked to do that in English, I would not have gotten the same response. Another app that I use on the assistive technology device for my students who are slightly above that resource group, who are reading at about a third or fourth grade level in a high school classroom, is iFake Messages. As you can see over here, it resembles quite simply what an iPhone message looks like. But here students can go in and follow a writing prompt in a shorter, succinct manner. I'm not looking for complete sentences. I'm just simply looking for the reason, the answers to the questions. So when we studied Hamlet, students created a character's iFake message. And they were able to respond to one another. And they could change who was speaking, battery, connection settings, etc. They were able to give me the main point of the story, highlighting conversations between two characters without worrying about writing in a proper sentence. They were able to show me that they understood what was going on. The last app that I have used with my students, and again, this is on their Chromebook, is called Edpuzzle. I do teach a class of students who are at or above grade level. So finding a challenge for them where iFake Messages and Flipgrid can be used, it's not as much of a challenge for them. We use Edpuzzle. For example, when we studied the soliloquy in Hamlet, What Piece of Work is a Man, my students are fluent in American Sign Language. It is their native language. But I also want to challenge them. So as you can see here, we have a clip from Hamlet presented by a student from a school for the deaf in California who is in an AP class. And this is his interpretation of this soliloquy from Hamlet. My students are able to watch it in their native language, and then at the end of the presentation, it will freeze, and students are asked at this point to answer this question. So they are given access both in ASL and they are asked to respond in English, challenging them to complete the work in both languages. So as you can see, educational technology is crucial in helping students access UDL.